Hi, today I'm going to talk about intervals. There are two types of interval, melodic and harmonic. Melodic refers to melody notes, which are basically a tune, so they follow each other. So let's put a G and say a D there. So a melodic interval, like a melody, the notes follow each other. A harmonic interval, I'll use G and D again, is basically a chord. A harmony is a chord, so the notes are on top of each other. This doesn't actually make a great deal of difference when you're working out the interval itself. Melodic and harmonic, you work them out the same way, it's just that they look slightly different. So melodic, the notes follow each other like a tune. Harmonic, they're on top of each other like a chord. When we are working intervals, we always count from the lowest note. So let's say I take our harmonic interval here. I'm just going to work this one out first. So I put G and D. We always count from the lowest note, and the lowest note is always 1 if we're counting whole notes. So the first thing to do, and the first thing I tell my students to do, is literally just count lines and spaces from 1. This is really important because when I show you later on in a future video, when you're dealing with augmented and diminished intervals, the notes do matter. The counting must be done first because there are different ways of writing notes, as we know, and it gets a little bit confusing. So always count first. So G is going to become 1. So I'm just going to count up the musical alphabet: G, A, B, C, D. That makes 5. So G to D, regardless of what it is a fifth. Remember, count from 1. First note is 1. So there are different types of interval within melodic and harmonic. We have perfect, unison, major, minor, augmented and diminished. I'm just going to deal with unison and perfect today, and a later video will look at major and minor. So what I'm going to do is we're going to look at starting from C, just because. So I'm just going to draw a middle C there. Another thing I do get my students to do, which I'm going to do now, is to help them draw a really quick keyboard. You do get plain paper in the exam, you're allowed to have paper next to you. Drawing a keyboard, really easy, doesn't matter if you're a piano player or not. It's just a really handy device because it's nice and visual, so it doesn't have to be fancy, you don't have to use a ruler. Big box, 2 black notes, gap, 3 black notes, gap. As you can tell, I'm not an artist. Fill those in because it's just easier to see. Draw lines down. There we go, really quick makeshift keyboard, doesn't take long. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and obviously that carries on. It's just really helpful when you're doing this kind of thing just to have something there as a visual aid to help you count. So if I do my G to D again from here, G is 1, G, A, B, C, D, there you go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5th. So back over to our middle C here. If I do another C right next to it, that is unison. The notes are the same note right next to each other, and that is a unison, which is always a perfect interval. I'll do another C here, and I'm going to do a C above, so this is an octave. And because it's the same note, again, that is perfect. So that's a perfect octave, or an eighth. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. 8 notes, and again we can count on here if we want. What? C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. 8 notes, an octave. Okay, so let's draw another C here. This time I'm going to put an F above it. So we've got C, D, E, F. C, D, E, F. That is a 4th, which is perfect. And one last one. C there, and I'm going to draw a G above it. C, D, E, F, G, C, D, E, F, G, 5th, which is perfect. So there are our perfect intervals, and I'm just going to do the semitones just to help you as well. Unison, it's the same note, so it has no semitones. Now, just remind very quickly here, C to C sharp is a semitone, C sharp to D is a semitone, C to D is a whole tone. Now, I'm presuming on some knowledge here, it is grade 5 theory, and I have covered this with all of my students, but just in case you weren't sure, the smallest gap between two notes is a semitone. Two semitones makes a whole tone. So, semitone, whole tone. So, unison, same note, no semitones. An octave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 semitones. A fourth, perfect fourth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 semitones. And a fifth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 semitones. So those are our perfect intervals: unison, octave, fourth and fifth. Melodic and harmonic intervals makes no difference with the counting. Count from the lowest note when you're working out intervals. Next video I will be looking at the difference between major and minor intervals. Thank you.